Hi, I'm Alex. Today we're diving into the story of Nicolas Maduro, the man who went from Caracas bus driver to president of Venezuela. His journey is one of political intrigue, economic collapse, and a relentless grip on power. How did Maduro come to embody both the hopes and failures of a revolution? We'll trace his rise from union activist through his alliance with Hugo Chavez to his crisis-ridden presidency. Understanding Maduro is key to understanding Venezuela today. So let's jump into the timeline of Nicolas Maduro and his impact on a nation. Now let's begin. Nicolas Maduro was born in 1962 in Caracas into a family of left-wing activists. His father was a trade union leader, and Maduro grew up surrounded by political debate and working-class struggle. He saw both the oil-fueled wealth of Venezuela and the deep poverty of its barrios, a contrast that shaped his worldview. Maduro's formal education was brief. He left high school early, drawn instead to activism and union organizing. As a teenager, he joined socialist youth groups and became immersed in radical politics. He wasn't an academic or a soldier. He was a street activist, learning politics in union halls and protests. In the 1980s, he trained in Cuba, deepening his Marxist ideology and connecting with international socialist networks. This experience solidified his commitment to revolution and prepared him for the political battles ahead. Maduro returned to Venezuela as a dedicated activist, ready to fight for change. His working-class roots and political training would define his rise. Back in Caracas, Maduro became a bus driver for the metro system, a job that put him at the heart of the city's working class. He quickly rose through the Transport Workers Union, organizing strikes and fighting for better conditions. This was grassroots politics, negotiating, building loyalty, and learning the mechanics of power. His activism brought him into contact with Cilia Flores, a lawyer and fellow leftist, who would become his wife and key political ally. Together, they became influential figures in the growing leftist movement. Maduro's time as a union leader gave him credibility as a man of the people, distinct from the political elite. He learned to build a base, organize support, and challenge the establishment. These years forged his political identity and prepared him for the seismic changes to come. The skills and alliances he built would prove crucial as Venezuela's political landscape shifted. Maduro was ready for the revolution that was about to erupt. Everything changed in 1992 when Hugo Chavez led a failed coup against Venezuela's government. Chavez's bold challenge electrified the nation and inspired Maduro and his circle. Maduro and Cilia Flores became key activists in the movement to free Chavez from prison. Maduro helped found the Bolivarian revolutionary movement, working behind the scenes to build support. He traveled the country, spreading Chavez's message and recruiting allies. When Chavez was released and turned to politics, Maduro helped transform the movement into a political party. He leveraged his union connections to build a broad coalition for Chavez's presidential run. In 1998, Chavez won the presidency, promising a Bolivarian revolution. Maduro's loyalty and organizing paid off. He was now a key player in a government poised to reshape Venezuela. The revolution had begun, and Maduro was at its heart. With Chavez in power, Maduro's rise was swift. He was elected to the National Constituent Assembly in 1999, helping draft Venezuela's new constitution. Soon after, he joined the National Assembly, becoming a leading Chavista voice. By 2005, he was president of the National Assembly, enforcing Chavez's agenda and consolidating power. In 2006, Chavez appointed him foreign minister, making Maduro the international face of the revolution. He built alliances with leftist governments and forged ties with Russia, China, and Iran. Maduro championed anti-US policies and promoted regional integration. He became a global player, defending Chavez's vision on the world stage. Maduro's loyalty and diplomatic skills made him indispensable to the regime. By 2012, Chavez's health was failing, and succession became urgent. Amid internal power struggles, Chavez made a dramatic choice. He named Nicolas Maduro as his successor in a televised address. He praised Maduro's loyalty and working-class roots, urging supporters to back him if a new election was needed. This endorsement bypassed powerful rivals and made Maduro the heir apparent. Chavez appointed him vice president, placing him next in line. As Chavez's illness worsened, Maduro became the de facto leader, governing in his name. He managed the coalition, reassured the military, and invoked Chavez's legacy to maintain unity. When Chavez died in March 2013, Maduro was sworn in as acting president. The revolution's future now rested on his shoulders. Maduro faced the daunting task of stepping into Chavez's shoes. The era of Chavez was over. Maduro's test had begun. Early 2013 was marked by uncertainty as Chavez's health declined in secrecy. Maduro, as acting leader, projected stability while invoking Chavez's legacy. He adopted Chavez's rhetoric and style, holding long televised addresses and blaming enemies for the president's illness. On March 5, 2013, Maduro announced Chavez's death, plunging Venezuela into mourning. The Supreme Court ruled Maduro could assume the interim presidency and run in the snap election. With Chavez's body lying in state, Maduro was sworn in as acting president. The stage was set for a fierce electoral battle to legitimize his rule. The 2013 snap election was fiercely contested. Maduro ran as Chavez's chosen successor, promising to continue the revolution. The opposition, led by Enrique Capriles, focused on Venezuela's economic crisis and rising crime. Maduro relied on Chavez's image and state resources, while Capriles called for change. The result was razor-thin. Maduro won by just 1.5%, a far cry from Chavez's landslides. The opposition alleged fraud and demanded a recount, sparking protests and violence. Maduro's presidency began under a cloud of illegitimacy and deep division. He lacked Chavez's popularity, inheriting only his title in a fractured nation. The country was polarized and Maduro's mandate was weak. The revolution's future was uncertain. Maduro's real challenges were just beginning. Maduro inherited an economy on the brink. Oil prices crashed and government policies deepened the crisis. Hyperinflation, food and medicine shortages, and mass unemployment followed. Millions fled the country, creating a humanitarian disaster. Protests erupted, met with brutal repression by security forces and pro-government militias. Hundreds died, thousands were arrested, and opposition leaders were jailed. Maduro responded by dismantling democratic institutions, stripping the opposition-led National Assembly of power. In 2017, he created a new constituent assembly, packed with loyalists, to rule by decree. The world condemned these moves as the end of Venezuelan democracy. Maduro's grip on power tightened, even as the country unraveled. The revolution had become a crisis. As Venezuela's crisis deepened, Maduro's regime became internationally isolated. The US and EU imposed sanctions on top officials, citing human rights abuses and corruption. In 2018, Maduro won a widely boycotted and condemned election, further eroding legitimacy. In 2019, opposition leader Juan Guaidó declared himself interim president, recognized by over 50 countries. Venezuela now had two rival governments, escalating the crisis. The US intensified sanctions, targeting Venezuela's oil industry to pressure Maduro. These measures hurt the regime, but also deepened the suffering of ordinary Venezuelans. Despite pressure, Maduro held on, relying on support from Russia, China, Cuba, Turkey, and Iran. These alliances provided loans, military aid, and ways to bypass sanctions. International isolation was severe, but Maduro's regime survived. The country became a pariah, but the government endured. The world watched as Venezuela's tragedy unfolded. The campaign to oust Maduro failed. He retained military loyalty and outlasted the opposition. Guaidó's movement fractured and international support faded. Maduro adapted, dollarizing parts of the economy and regaining control of the National Assembly in 2020. By 2023, the opposition dissolved Guaidó's interim government, marking a victory for Maduro. Global events like the war in Ukraine led the US to ease some sanctions and reopen negotiations. In late 2023, a deal was struck, sanctions relief in exchange for promises of freer elections. Maduro remains firmly in power, having survived protests, sanctions, and isolation. His presidency has overseen collapse, but he's proven a tenacious survivor. Venezuela's future now hinges on upcoming elections and global politics. The bus driver from Caracas still holds the reins, but the nation is forever changed. That's the story of Nicolas Maduro, from union activist to embattled president. His rise and rule are inseparable from Venezuela's crisis and transformation. The next chapter is still being written as the world watches and Venezuelans struggle for their future. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. If you found this video informative, please subscribe and share your thoughts below. See you in the next video.